Alright, let's go ahead and create our first JavaScript program. Now, you need two things to create JavaScript, and you probably already have both of them. First, you need a web browser or two. I actually test on 3 major web browsers on my Mac. I've got Google Chrome, Firefox, and also Safari, which comes from Apple. If you have a PC, you probably also have a copy of Internet Explorer from Microsoft. I always recommend testing on more than one browser because there's subtle differences in the browser, so you should test your JavaScript on multiple types of browsers. You also need a text editor. My recommendation is to get Komodo Edit, which is a free text editor from the folks at ActiveState. This is a really good text editor for JavaScript. You can download Komodo for Linux, Mac, or Windows. I highly recommend it. Of course, you can use any text editor that you want. If you prefer to use, let's say, Notepad or Notepad++ for on a PC, that's fine. If you'd like to use, on a Mac, you'd like to use Text Wrangler, that's fine too. What I don't recommend doing is using an actual word processor like Word. What word processors do is they interject formatting characters into the file, and those formatting characters confuse the browser. So we want to stay away from word processors totally. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and write my first JavaScript file. So you'll notice here I've already got a file going called firstjavascript.html. And this should look familiar to you because I told you needed to have some basic JavaScript knowledge, basic HTML knowledge to take this course. So this is the HTML basic document structure. My cursor's flashing between the body tags, and what we've got to do is we've got to tell the browser through our script that we're going to be writing JavaScript. So I'm going to type script language equals JavaScript. And then I've also got to use the type attribute to tell it type equals text/JavaScript. Now you'll notice Komodo is giving me some context-sensitive help as I go here, and that's great. That can make you, 1, faster as you create your code, and 2, prevent you from making errors because you can use what they type instead of taking a chance of making a typo yourself. So I highly recommend Komodo for that very reason. Dreamweaver does the same thing, but Dreamweaver is a commercial product and is not free. Alright, so what we want to do now is we want to write document write hello world from JavaScript. So now that we've done that, we actually have written our first JavaScript command. The command is document.write, and this says basically output to the browser. I'm going to put above that what's called a comment. Comments are ignored by the browser, so I'm going to put here output to the browser. So what's going to happen is the browser is going to be processing the HTML. It's going to get here to line 6, and it's going to say, okay, this is JavaScript. So I'm going to interpret these lines differently than I would HTML. So it's going to ignore the comment line. The comments are just there for the developer. And it's going to go to the document write line and say, okay, document write means I need to output this to the browser. So I've gone ahead and saved the document. Let's bring the browser back up. And what we're going to do is we're going to open this document. And when we open the document, it's going to open right in the browser. So here's firstscript.html. I'm going to click open. And there's hello world from JavaScript. So this document write command right here caused this text to appear in the browser. Now, you also should be aware that within the quotes here, we can embed JavaScript commands. For example, the strong JavaScript tag, shouldn't say command, I should say tag, on the default style sheet makes our text appear bold. So if I change this and add the strong and I save my document, and now I click refresh, the text will be rendered in bold. And that's because, again, I used the strong tag in order to render the text in bold. So document write outputs to the browser. We can embed HTML. If I wanted to, I can write a second line here. So document write. And I'm going to put a break tag here so it separates onto a different line. I'm going to put, this is my first JavaScript program. I'll save again, go back to the browser, and we'll refresh. And there we've got our 2 lines, hello world from JavaScript, and this is my first JavaScript program. In the labs for this chapter, you're going to try something very similar to this Hello World program.